Why, good morning, people. How you doing? I hope you're doing great. Don't forget to press that subscribe button or subscribe that press button, whichever one you want to put it. Today we're going to be talking about, Francis Dunnery Astrology is going to be talking about Saturn in Cancer, the shadow in Cancer. You can generally find your average Cancerian caught up with the art of staying safe. You know, they have their home. This is my home. This is where I'm going to stay. I'm going to build my castle walls around. You know, Cancerians are generally, you know, concerned with that. And my family safe? And, you know, those sort of themes. I guess security is a good theme to talk about. But when you put Saturn in Cancer, when you put Saturn in the fourth house, which is analogous to Saturn in Cancer, then all bets are off, because at that point it becomes the anti-security. Saturn in Cancer people create the very thing they fear the most, being abandoned. And it's very difficult for the Saturn in Cancer person, because they often have a history of abandonment, or their fear of abandonment, which is what really defines the Saturn in Cancer person. It's a fear of abandonment. The shadow is what we call the life sentence. In most of these shadows, we have a core issue that can be expressed in many different ways. All of the shadow is like that. If you have, say, like what we talked about yesterday with Saturn in Gemini, you could have someone with Saturn in Gemini who is, you know, frightened of looking stupid, or who has 5 doctorates from Harvard. It's the same central core, what we call the heart of the matter. It doesn't matter how much money you've got or how big your house is. The internal security is what you need. So what is the heart of the matter? The heart of the matter is it all leads back to the lair. And when you go back to the lair with Saturn in Cancer, it all leads back to the situation where the need for security, the fear, the vulnerability, the fear, the defensiveness that one has with Saturn in Cancer. And what tends to happen with Saturn in Cancer is they demand loyalty, because they're born with a deep fear of being abandoned. And often they are, because their life mirrors their internal structure, their internal setup. The average Saturn in Cancer person has a history of being left alone, of being abandoned, of being dropped off and discarded. So I've got to remind you of this. It isn't that the world happens to you, that, you know, you were abandoned and so you feel scared of being abandoned. No, you feel scared of being abandoned and you become abandoned. All those emotional demands make it impossible for people to be around you. You have to remember that, because it's really important, especially when you're dealing with the shadow, that you don't start thinking the world's happening to you. Because as soon as you think that, you've got no power in the situation. You know, it's like, the world's happening to me, this is how it is, the world's happening to me this way, and I can't do anything about it. Well, that's not true. You know, when you start to understand that unconsciously, it all stems, the heart of the matter stems from your fear of abandonment, your lack of security, and all these instances that happen in the real world, you know, in your movie, in what's in front of you, is all coming from you. It's hard to get close to a Saturn in Cancer person because of their defensiveness. And it's actually showing you what you feel about yourself and the fear that you have. So when you get threatened to be abandoned, or somebody, or you'll go into a situation where you'll start to demand loyalty from someone, but they can't possibly give you that sort of loyalty, but you're all paranoid about it because, you know, you want the loyalty, and so you leave them, which is a very common trait with Saturn in Cancer. The person with Saturn in Cancer, although frightened of being abandoned, tends to be the people who abandoned they abandon the people before they can be abandoned themselves. So the wound is so bad, the natural wound, the shadow is so scary, that you'd just rather leave than be under the threat of being abandoned yourself. This is very common. But often, you know, like if you want to talk in terms of like real world terms, you know, you often find somebody, you know, whose, you know, parent died when they were younger. It's often the father, actually, with Saturn in Cancer. The parent died when they were younger. You know, it could be, you know, your friends left you. There's these instances of being left and you know, confirming to yourself that you need to be afraid of being abandoned because you get abandoned. Of course, you know, and it's just the self-fulfilling prophecy, you know, over and over again. If the person with Saturn in Cancer tries to rely on a job, tries to rely on, you know, their children, well, you know, you can lose your job, rely on your children, the children can leave and go to college, rely on your partner can run off with someone else. It doesn't matter what, your parents can die. all of these things, don't lead to security with Saturn in Cancer. The only place to go is inside. And it's very interesting because if you listen to the thoughts in your head, you can actually be aware of the thoughts in your head. They're going on all the time, like blah, 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 constantly. But you're not the thoughts. The thoughts are happening to, they're just, you don't seem to have any control of them. They're just going on. It could go from ordering chicken wire in Russia to, an ice cream sundae. They're just these random thoughts. But if you be aware of those thoughts, just spend a little time being aware of them. Because you're not the thoughts themselves. You are the thing that's aware of the thoughts. That's who you are. You are the awareness of your thoughts. And when you find that part of yourself, nobody can take that from you. But hey, once you become secure on the inside, guess what shows up on the outside? Real security. And that's what the real security is that the Saturn in Cancer person's looking for. You are the awareness of your thoughts. You're not the thoughts themselves. And once you find that, that's the real security you've been looking for all along if you have Saturn in Cancer or Saturn in the 4th house. Once you find yourself on the inside, you'll never have to worry about your security again. So press that subscribe button. Make sure that you go visit my website, francisdunneryastro.com. I've got plenty of stuff on there, francisdunneryastro.com. You can get me on all sorts of social media sites on my new channel, Francis Dunnery Astro and Francis Dunnery Astrology. I'm all over the place at this point. I'm like dandruff. I'm all over the place. I've got no hair. I don't have dandruff. And so, you need to go check it out and have a look at the dates on this YouTube video to see if you've got Saturn in Cancer. Now, it's a generational thing. It lasts for 2 or 3 years. It goes through Cancer for 2 or 3 years. But if any point, you can also have Saturn in the 4th house by what time you were born in the day. So, you might not have Saturn in Cancer, but you might very well have Saturn in the 4th house, which actually appears in the houses stronger than it does in the signs. So go check me out, francisdunneryastro.com. Thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed our little chat, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right? Bye.